What's good, YouTube? I go by the name of Chief Rocker, and today I got the big homie Jones here with me, and we're gonna be doing something a little bit different than what I usually do. Today we're gonna be doing something called sneaker stories, where we go over why sneakers are so important to us. Because I have conversations all the time with people, and they're just like, I don't get how you could spend so much money on shoes, and I don't get why you're so obsessed with them. But just like any other collection or obsession, we hold it near and dear to our hearts, and shoes is just happens to be the thing that we want to spend our money on, that we collect. So today I'm going to be showing a story, or sharing a story on how I became a sneakerhead and the shoe that got me into sneakers. But before that, you got anything to say?
Yeah, I just want to say I've been doing this for a long time. Not really I wouldn't say a sneakerhead, but just a guy who forgot to get rid of some of my old shoes.
Definitely. So with that being said, I'm going to be going over my first pair of grails, my very special shoes, the Special Field AF1 in the olive colorway. Now, if you look at this shoe, if you know anything about this shoe, it's not that old of a shoe, which is crazy because most people have, like, you hear the OG sneakerheads talk about sneakers that came out in the 90s or in the early 2000s. They're like, these are my grails. These shoes came out in 2016. I've always been a fan of sneakers, and I've always had sneakers and collected shoes, but I got into the sneaker game a little bit more recently than most people. So 2016, I picked up this pair, and the story on how I got this pair is just ridiculous. So me and my roommate and his girlfriend, we all share a common interest in a certain kind of style of shoe and clothing at the time in 2016. And this shoe right here really fit the bill on with the style that we were going for. So I hit them up in a group chat. I was like, hey, this shoe is coming out in November. I know we'll all like it. Let's all go and pick it up. They dropped 4 colorways. They dropped the olive colorway that I'm holding right here. They dropped a white colorway, a black colorway, and a brown colorway. So one of the homies was like, all right, I'm gonna get the black colorway. His girl was like, I'm gonna get the brown colorway, and I chose to get the olive colorway, which happened to be the hardest colorway to get. I remember the trailer for this because Draymond Green, I think LeBron James, and maybe Rajon Rondo and a few other basketball players really debuted this sneaker. And I remember watching the trailer and be like, I need those shoes. Like, they were so dope. So after I hit the chat, the morning of the release of this shoe, I went on Sneakers app like anybody would, and I went and tried to pick this sneaker up. And lo and behold, like always, like most people, Sneakers app let me down. I took the first L, and I was sitting there looking stupid with salt on my face. So I hit up my homie who was going for the black pair, and his girl was going for the brown pair. They both hit on their pairs. So I was the one that hit them up. Granted, they had already knew about the shoe by the time I told them about it, but I hit them up to put this plan in motion where we could all get the different colorways of this sneaker. They both hit on their pairs, and I took an L on my pair. So I was sitting there looking salty, salt on my face and everything. I then, the next maybe 2 or 3 weeks after these came out, I was scrolling through Facebook Marketplace, and that was when Facebook Marketplace had just really added that tab and it had just jumped off. I scrolled through Marketplace and I see these shoes on there, and somebody in Little Rock was selling these shoes. At the time, I was stationed in Little Rock, so I immediately hit him up. Now, with that being said, it was around Christmas time and money was short because I had already spent money on Christmas presents and all that stuff. So money was real short. So I scrounged up the last couple of dollars I had, which I really shouldn't have done. It was really irresponsible, but I wanted the sneakers. So I hit the dude up and he told me to meet him in a location that was like maybe a 45-minute drive from where I was living at the time. Let me go ahead and hold that. So it was like maybe a 45-minute drive from where I was living at the time. So I pull up, I'm sitting in the parking lot, waiting for this dude to pull up with the sneakers. And what does he do? He ghosted me. I didn't hear nothing from him. I sat there for about an hour, once again, looking salty. And I just drove away. On the way home, he hits me up and was like, hey man, I'm sorry. Another buyer offered him more money and the guy actually backed out. So now the ball is in my court. I set the price. I was like, look, I'm still gonna buy them from you. It turns out that he needed the money for Christmas presents for his kids or whatever. I was like, all right, cool. I'll give you $220 and that's it. So I knocked $30 off and I was like, you gotta drive to me this time because I just drove to you the day before. And we finally met up in the parking lot on the second day. We met up in a mall that was closer to my house and he sold them to me, and that's how I ended up copping these. It was a long ass journey, and eventually once I copped them, me and the homies met up and we all took a picture. We all had our colorways of it, and that's how I came to acquire the Special Field Air Force One in the olive colorway. And that is my first story on how I officially became a sneakerhead. After that, I've been chasing that same kind of feeling that I got after I originally picked these up. Now this sneaker right here, as you can see, it's a silhouette of an Air Force One, pretty much. And it is pretty much, they just made it a more urban, like they use bungee cord. This strap actually comes off. You can wear it as a on your wrist. There's a stash pocket on the tongue of it. There's so many accessories that come with this sneaker. The gum bottom on the olive upper, it looks really clean to me, and this is my first love. My first love as a sneakerhead. What did you bring today, Big Jones?
So I brought the 2014 Air Jordan 14 Black Toes. This isn't a grail shoe by any means, but to me, I hold it near and dear because of the fact that we started our journey in Japan when I was stationed here the first time. I kind of took these shoes around the world with me, like literally onto every continent. When I was here before, I liked the shoe because it was sleek. You know, it's a white shoe. It's easy to clean. The upper is leather, so you can hit it with a wet towel. Anything that was spilled on it come right off. And as far as the black toe, it's suede. You can hit it with a brush, knock the dust off, and you're right back looking sleek and new. You know, and so this shoe, it kind of looks beat right now, but if you clean it up, it's good enough from a distance because they're white. The sun hits it and look pretty clean. I definitely took these to Thailand, to the Philippines. Took them to New Zealand, to Australia, took them to Antarctica, and our last journey was to Africa, which they kind of bit the dust. They couldn't handle the African climate, you know. So that's kind of when they started to go downhill on me, and so I just boxed them up. But every picture I started to notice, I started having these shoes on in all my pictures. So I was like, I've had them on in about 6 countries now, 2 or 3 continents. I'm going to keep it going. So I kind of, every time I packed my bag to go from home station, these were in there. Or I had them on my foot, just ready to go. And it'd be nice though, like you go to like Philippines with these on, and kids see you in the mall, and everybody's attracted to the white, and the shoe look clean and sleek, and they're just like, yo, he's got on the brand new Jordan 14s, So it always was an attention getter whenever you're out and about, when they were new looking. But that's my story behind these, and it's kind of what made this shoe dear to me, because we literally been everywhere together. So
yeah, that is a dope story. Now I'm gonna switch into something a little bit different, because let me explain that Jones is one of the most well-traveled people that I've ever met, honestly, in my entire life. Like, this man, when we were in England together, I would try to hang out with him on the weekends, be like, hey Jones, what you doing this weekend? Let's link up. And he'll be like, oh, I'm going to Budapest. And I'll be like, all right, what you doing next weekend? Oh, I'm gonna be in Italy. And I'm just like, damn, like, when you gonna be at home, bruh? He was either at work or he was in another country. And if anybody who knows Jones, I'm telling the truth. So with that being said, the question I want to ask you is, how has traveling around the world, what have you gained from it, and how has it made you mature as a person, experiencing all these different cultures?
Being that I've traveled around the world and going to all these different countries, it kind of made me open my mind a little bit, or drastically, to say the least. Yeah. So me being from the U.S., most people don't get to go out and see these different cultures and stuff. So they always ask me like, hey man, why don't you take a picture of these buildings and these monuments? Like every time I see like you with a group of people all in all your pictures. So to me, I hold the relationship of the individuals, of the people around in the culture. I hold that more dear than I do these buildings. Those buildings been there for centuries. They'll be there centuries after we're here too. So the best relationship is with the people. And of course, everything, it seems regional. Like us growing up in the U.S., everything that we see, we feel that is right on our end. And then when you go to their countries, everything that they see, they feel is right. So when you open your mind up to seeing that things are different in different areas of the world, you'll get to see that what you see on a daily basis becomes your norm and becomes your right. So to me, I never felt that they were right or they were wrong, and I never felt that I was right and I was wrong. I wanted to understand when I went there, like, hey, show me how you guys do this. Like, just a simple different etiquette from going to a restaurant, or even like the biggest differences, like the way that they party, So a lot of countries, if you embrace the way that they interact or the way that they do business, they're going to be more susceptible to bringing you on as a friend or introducing you into their world. And then you get to see the real side of their country. So we kind of halt our interactions by being like, hey, I'm just the American, I'm coming here, I'm bringing America to this country. But instead, I think we should take that country back to America to show the different reactions and the different interactions that we have. You know what I mean? Because we are similar. Like, everybody does the same thing. Like, we all party, we all kick it, we all drink, and we all enjoy good cuisine. So definitely it opened my mind up to see who and how people interact in our own countries, and get to see why they feel strongly about the things that they do.
Yeah.
So
definitely. So obviously I haven't been to as many countries as Jones has here, but I have been a few places, whether I've been to England, Japan, I've been to Rome, I've been a couple of places. And the culture that I get, like the growth that I gathered from these places came from not only seeing the architecture and the places, but it really came from the interactions that I had with the people there. And that really helped me grow as a person. So I 100% agree with what you're saying. Like when you go to these places, it really helps you to, it almost like when I was a kid, I would look at these places. I would look at Rome in the history books and I would read the stories about it, but it wasn't a real place to me. It was just like I was looking at it on a piece of paper. It wasn't real until I actually got there and looked around and saw this stuff. Like the feeling that I got when I went, it was a crazy feeling. I was like, oh, I'm really here. Like this, it felt kind of surreal. And as I go to these different places, and I just got to Japan back in February, I still get that same feeling. I look around sometimes and I pick myself, almost like have an out-of-body experience, and I'll be like, look at where I'm at right now. Look at what I'm doing. And I'll just sit back and I'll just take it in. And I think that experience in itself, whether it be on a large scale or being halfway across the world, or being on a more, a smaller scale of just going to a different state in the United States, there are different places in the world, and they all are simultaneously at the same time that you're living your life, they're living their lives, and their culture is either almost the same as yours or vastly different. There's a large spectrum of cultures, and experiencing those cultures definitely helped me grow as a human being and as a person. So I think that'll do it for today. This has been Sneaker Stories. Today I went over why the Special Field Air Force One in the olive colorway is my personal grail, and I explained the story on how I took L after L until I finally came into acquiring this sneaker. And then the homie Jones went over these shoes.
One of the Black Toe 14s from 2014. This shoe, like I said, has a special place in my heart. We're back in Japan again, where it all started. This is where I picked them up the first time I was stationed in Japan.
Yeah.
And we're back for round 2.
Yeah.
We started here. Hopefully we don't finish here. So.
Yeah. With that being said, thank you guys for viewing. If you enjoyed the video today, please like this video. Leave any comments in the comment section for any questions that you have. Subscribe to the channel. I'm Chief Rocka. This is the big homie Jones, and we are out. Peace.